lot of lemonade berry out here, and so it's pretty dominant. But as you know, lemonade berry is great habitat, and so we see a lot of birds going into these lemonade berries, and so we've salvaged those and made sure to protect any native plants that we found in here. We saw a huge flush of annuals as well this spring after we cleared the weeds, and the goats were in here as well in the previous what was it, in the end of spring, summer. And so the goats really started this process. They were the first ones to come in and start to clear some of these weedy areas, and then we came in after that and did the detail work. But what we saw with that natural grazing and the biology that occurs when you have grazers come through, we saw a big flush of wildflowers. We had lupins and crypantha and eucrypta and all these little wildflowers that we may not pay too much attention to, but the pollinators pay a lot of attention to them because we have thousands and thousands of different native pollinators in this area. They need different types of flowers, and so we thought that was really important, and we thought it was really interesting that those seeds were still there after so many years of weeds, of farming. This was an old farming area, and so it's unique. It's unique that we have this very special climate that allows for these wildflowers to persist, for the seeds to persist, and for us to really do this work successfully. There is a question, Johnny?
Yeah, we have a question from Susan. She says, could you explain the funding already in place for this project?
So we did a great job of pursuing funding early on for this project. We have Coastal Conservancy funding for half of this, and we got NRCS funding, Natural Resources Conservation Service. We created a great partnership with this federal group that they usually do a lot of farm work, but they see the value in conservation, and so they funded a good proportion of this project. So with those two funding sources, it really helps us to move ahead on a lot of these projects. There's still gaps to fill in funding, but those two funding sources have allowed us to begin the process to remove the invasive species, to start growing the plants, and some of that funding actually paid for these beautiful signs for the whole reserve, right? And we will be putting in educational and interpretive signage as you come in off the parking lot that will explain what is going on here. We get a lot of people that don't know what the Conservancy is, barely know what the peninsula is, but they know that this place is here, and people from all over the county come out here. And so these signs will explain what restoration is, what special species are here, and other things that is more of a passive educational approach. We'll also be using these sites as more active educational approaches, where we'll be bringing the schools out here. We have this huge intern program, and they're going to be helping us with the restoration, the monitoring, the planting, all the good stuff that a lot of that we already do. But I was explaining on a Zoom call yesterday to South Bay, South Bay Live, that who doesn't want to be out here on this this beautiful view, planting, caring for nature, and really just helping out in the best way possible, right? And so I think this is a gem, and we're really lucky to be able to do this project and have so much of it funded.
We have another question from Susan saying if you can explain how AmeriCorps helped with this project.
So there was another question about AmeriCorps and how they helped. And so once again, we have this great partnership with another federal program, AmeriCorps, and they've been coming out here for several years now. It varies in the amount of people that come out, but I believe this year we started off with 8 or 9, and they were out here helping us to remove some of the invasive acacia, as well as we have this spiky plant. Some people call it spiky acacia or spiny acacia. it's a salsipina. It's a weird plant that showed up here. I think it's a remnant from the rancher days because it's used for tanning hides. So they helped us to remove those because these were so spiny. We really needed some dedicated group to really help us to slowly remove it and get rid of it. And so they were out here weeding. What else did they do? They helped us to put up fencing. And helped us to flag this area once we were kind of mapping what goes where. And so AmeriCorps played an essential component in this. Unfortunately, they had to get pulled due to the COVID issue. And so we didn't have them as long as we wanted to, because we really did want them to help us with some planting, some seeding components. We hope to have them again next year. And actually, a lot of you have hosted AmeriCorps, and I still get really nice letters from them to this day, and I'm friends with a lot of them, and they say how this project was one of their favorite projects. I don't think they're lying to me. I mean, they could be, but the fact that they continue to reach out and check in and tell us how they changed their career to do environmental work. I think we just had one graduate this last year, do a digital graduation. But I thought it was touching to hear that, we showed them the kind of work that can be done, and they went back to their Midwest state and decided to pursue environmental work. So and that's just one of the many stories. And so we will continue to work with AmeriCorps. We have this project to work on for 3 years, and then we will maintain it after that. But we'll apply again for this next year, and we hope that if anybody out there has extra rooms or wants to host them for lunch or dinner, they really enjoy that, and they really enjoy getting to know the community. So please reach out.
Yeah, Becky Cool says that she loved hosting the AmeriCorps group.
So we have a comment from Becky Cool that she loved hosting the AmeriCorps, and they loved Becky. And actually, that's one of the memories they have, is getting to meet Becky. And as you all know, getting to meet Becky is a treat. Becky's a unique person and really outgoing, and they do bring that up. I think one of the AmeriCorps is now in a higher position in AmeriCorps, and she mentioned Becky. So we appreciate Becky, you hosting them, and we had a nice dinner. I was there one night for one of those. And so, as you all know, the community is important, and that's what we strive for in this, because we can't just do restoration as staff and then and walk away. We want the community to be involved. We want the community to own this. And what a great place to have this restoration, right? Where we have a parking lot that can fit 100 cars. People are in here all day, all night. Maybe not all night, at least not legally, but they're coming out here because this is a unique place. And for them to see restoration and to be involved, I think is how you get successful restoration. You can't just exclude the people. You have to involve people and invite them in to see what is going on, so that they understand it, they support it, and then they support the mission of the Conservancy and all the different things that we do, from education to preservation, to selling native plants to people to grow in their own homes.
We have another question. Will there be upcoming volunteer events for this project?
And so there's a question if we're going to have upcoming volunteer events. And so we're still trying to figure that out. We're waiting for more guidance from the state and the health department, and we're moving through the phases. Volunteer events are not necessarily on the list yet, and so we're working to try to figure out the best way to stay safe, keep everyone safe, but still hold volunteer events. So we will be having some form of volunteerism here. We have to, we're going to be planting 10,000 plants or so. That's a lot of plants. And so we want the community to be involved. Something we are still continuing is our Adopt a Plot program. And so we hope to have some Adopt a Plot sections here. And the Adopt a Plot program allows for people to be independent and work out here, in small groups or on their own after they've been trained, and really avoids that social issue. They're social distancing while still doing volunteer work and making a difference. So we will find a way, but at the moment everything's on pause.
And then we have another question: what types of butterflies will this site draw?
So another question is, what type of butterflies will this site attract? And so, right, attract?
Yes.
Okay, so the El Segundo blue butterfly has been seen a little bit up the coast, and so we will be planting the coastal dune buckwheat, Eriogonum parvifolium, in mass here, and it's a beautiful plant. So it's not just a great plant for the El Segundo, but it's aesthetically pleasing, and so it's perfect for this area. So we know they're going to show up because everywhere we've planted so far, they've shown up. This is their old historical range. So that's one butterfly. The Palos Verdes blue butterfly historically occurred right above us here, above PV Drive South. There was a release done there in a secret location, but not too far from here. And so we will be planting the host plant, rattlepod, here. And rattlepod has been pushed out of these areas because of development, right? Everyone wants to live on the coast, including our butterfly. And so we will be making that little, nice little habitat for them. The real estate is here for us to make their home, and we hope that they'll show up naturally, but if not, there is a potential to do a release here if the habitat is appropriate. And so we have all these little nooks and crannies that may be appropriate. I will say that we're also planting milkweed, and milkweed is a host plant for the monarch butterfly. So just yesterday at the BLB site, I saw all the milkweed that was planted out there, in different stages, and I saw the monarch caterpillar, and I saw the monarchs flying around and maybe mating. Some were fighting. It was great because there was a lot of monarchs flying around, and so we'll be doing the same here. We'll be planting a lot of monarch plants and taking care of them and letting them do their thing. And as you know, the milkweed spreads with the wind. The seeds have a little puff ball on them, and so they spread around. And so we hope that just us planting in this unique location will spread to the surrounding area and create more habitat for monarchs, which are really limited in numbers throughout the country at this point. It's really alarming. And those are just some of the all-star butterflies, right? There's so many more. I'm watching a white butterfly fly across as we're talking here.